Hey runners, we're now at episode 13 of the stretch and stability series. Things should be starting to get a little bit more challenging now, so keep it up. Okay, let's get into it. So to start, we're just going to come into a kneeling position. And then with the right leg, we're just going to bring the right leg out to the side. And then I want you to find this position where you've got the ankle directly below the knee. So you either need to walk the foot in or walk the foot out, and just find a position where you've got the ankle directly below the knee. We then want to keep the hips facing forwards and try and find a soft engagement through the glutes. We're then just going to move out to the side. So think about driving your right knee over your right foot, pushing out to the side, and we're just working a little bit into hip external rotation, and then we can come back up. Okay, so we're just getting these little pulses, trying to keep the hip forwards. We're trying to keep the body facing forwards as we pulse out to the side. We'll do 10 of these. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Really try and drive the knees over the toes or the knee over the toes. 6, keep the glutes on. 7, 8, keep the hips forward. We'll do 10, 9, and last one, 10. Good. Let's go over to the other side. So we're bringing the left leg up, and we've got the foot rotated out to the side. Remember, we want the ankle to be below the knee. We want to keep the hips facing forwards, and then we're just going to drive the knee over the toes for 1, keeping the glutes active. 2, 3, 4, keep the chest forwards. 5, drive the knee over the toes. 6, 7, 8, 2 more. 9, hopefully you're feeling that opening through the hips. And the last one is going to be 10. Good. Now we're going to go into some half frogs. So starting in a quadruped position, you're just going to bring one leg out to the side. And then we're trying to have that leg following the same plane as the hips. So we don't want to be with the foot back behind here. We want to try and keep that leg up. And if you can't achieve that, that's fine. Just try and bring that foot as far up as possible. And then with this leg, we want to try and have the foot in line with the knee behind us. Hands are on the floor. And then in this position here, we're trying to pull the chest up, and then we're just going to push the bum back, and we're just going to rock forwards and backwards. And what I want you to feel here is like you're trying to push the foot away from you. So like you're trying to reach for something over to the side with your right foot. And then what I also want you to think about is keeping the weight over to the right. So try not to lean over this way. Keep the weight more into the right, and then we're just pulsing back and forth in this position. Okay, so we're just opening up through what's called abduction in the hip, where we're getting the hip lifted up out to the side. And you can really try to activate your glutes as you push back, trying to keep the chest upright, so trying not to round like this. And then we're just going to hold in this back position here. So pushing the bum back, trying to pull the chest up, and we're just going to hold here. So in terms of where we want our weight, we don't want to be tilting over to the left. So with the foot out to the right, try and lean a little bit into the right side. So a little bit into the right hand. And remember that sensation that I spoke about of feeling like you're trying to push the foot out to the side, and that's going to deepen the stretch through the adductors or the adductors, the inner thigh. Okay, so just holding here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go over to the other side. So the right knee is going to come down onto the floor. Remember, we want a tracking of the knee, for, like the ankle to be below the knee here, and then we want to have the left leg out to the side, and we want to have the foot in line with the knee here. We then want to pull the chest up, and feeling like you're reaching over to the side, we're just going to pulse back and forth, trying to find that activation through the glutes as we do this. So we're just releasing the inner thigh through what's called hip abduction, pushing the bum back. So some of you might find it hard to fully lift the chest up. You might be a little bit more rounded. Just try your best to create that extension through the spine, to open up the spine here. And over time, you're going to get into that nice upright position. Good, let's find that position with the bum all the way back. And then we're trying to keep the chest upright. We're trying to keep the weight a little bit into the left hand, and then we're reaching out to the side with the left foot, or just thinking about that sensation. We don't want to rotate the foot out to the side, so make sure that foot is forwards. So even though you're reaching over to the side, try and keep the foot facing forwards. And we're just going to hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring the knees back in. And then we're going to go back to that first exercise we did where we're working on external rotation, but we now want to go a little bit deeper into this. So we're bringing the foot out to the side, and whereas before we had the ankle below the knee, we're just going to inch out to the side just a touch more, maybe about 1 foot extra. And now we're going to deepen that external rotation. So keeping the hips facing forward, and try to keep the knee back as we then drive the knee over the toes and then coming back. You can have your hands on your hips. Keep the hips facing forwards, drive the knees or the knee over the toes. 2. Let's do 10 of these. 3. If this range is too much for you, just keep the ankle where it was before or where it was in the first exercise. 3. Sorry, this is 5. 6, keep the chest forwards. Keep the activation in the glutes. 7. 8. 2 more. 9. And last one. 10. Good, let's go over to the other side. So bringing the left leg out to the side. And now we're just walking that foot a little bit further over to the side, about 1 foot's distance. And then from here, we want to keep the knee back behind us. We want to keep the chest forwards. Hands can be on the hips. And we're just pulsing out to the side for 1, 2, 3. So you should really be feeling this through the hips. Hopefully getting a nice release. 4, 5, 6. Really try and get the knee to come over the toes, over the ankle. 7, 8, 2 more. 9, and last one. 10. Good. We're going to come back to our half frog, so into the quadruped position, so on your hands and knees, bringing the right leg out to the side. So you've got the foot in line with the knee here, and then we're putting the chest up, and then we're just going to go straight into that hold and try and just go a little bit further back this time, shifting the weight over to the right. And we're just going to hold here, and after this hold, we're going to try to roll the foot back, okay? Some of you won't be able to roll it all the way back, but you're just going to try and roll it back as much as you can, and that's just going to go a little bit more into the hamstrings. So let's just do 10 more seconds here. And remember that sensation like you're trying to reach over to the side, and make sure your weight isn't over to the left here. We want to stay a little bit more over to the right. And then from here, we're just going to try to roll the foot back. And we're feeling that external rotation in the hip. And the challenge here is, can you do this without rounding the spine? Can you roll the foot back with a nice upright position? Okay, don't worry if you're just here, that's totally fine. We can look to improve that range over time. Okay, let's do 10 more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, let's bring the knee onto the floor. Let's bring the left foot out to the side now. And then just starting with that regular half frog position is cool. We're pushing back, shifting the weight a little bit into the left, and then feel like you're reaching over to the side. Okay, let's hold here. And in a moment, we're going to rotate the foot back, just like we did on the right. And as you do that, you're trying not to round in with the spine. Okay, you're trying to keep everything the same and just roll the foot back. Okay, let's do it. So we're going to roll the foot back and try to stay nice and upright. You should be feeling that rotation through the hips. You should be feeling a little bit more into the inner hamstring. Okay, so whereas before we were into the back of the hamstring. Whereas before we were in the inner thigh, we're now going into the back of the hamstring. So just holding here, pushing the bum back, trying to stay nice and upright with the chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So we're just going to come into a kneeling position. And I want to keep my hips relatively above my knees, and then I'm going to walk the hands forward, and I'm going to try to push the chest down towards the floor. Now, for some of you, you might not have the range here, and it might be that your forehead comes down to the floor. The level up from there will be chin to floor, and then the final level will be trying to get the chest to the floor. Okay, I'm working with the chin at the moment. I'm trying to create this extension in the spine, so I'm feeling like I'm pushing the bum up towards the ceiling to find this position here. And I'm just going to hold here, really trying to extend the spine, so try and pull the chest forwards as you push the bum up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we're just going to go for some light movement. So we're just going to move between flexion and extension in the spine. So what I want you to feel initially is an engagement in the glutes and pushing into the floor, creating a small rounding in the spine, and then back into the extended position. And we're just going to move between these two. So pushing the hands into the floor, tucking the hips under, and then extending the spine, bringing the chest up. Okay, so we'll just do a few reps here. So as you come up, really feel that you're pushing the hands into the floor, tucking the chin in, tucking the hips in. It's a bit of a small motion, but we're still getting that spine to move between flexion and extension. Good, last one. Nice, cool. Walk the hands up, and then we're going to come into a seated position. You can cross your legs here. And we're going to go for a similar motion with the flexion and extension, so where we're rounding the spine and then opening up the chest. We're going to go with the hands behind the head. You can interlace the fingers, hands behind the head, and then from here we're going to draw the elbows together and tuck the chin at the same time. So drawing the elbows together, tuck the chin, create that rounding in the upper spine, and then after we're going to pin the elbows back, lift up the chin and open up the chest. Okay, let's go again. Tucking the chin, bring the elbows together, round the spine. You should also be getting a nice stretch in the neck, in the cervical spine. Open up the chest, pull the elbows back together. 2 more. Elbows together, round the spine. And then lift up the chest, pin the elbows back. Good. Stay in this position here, and we're just going to move laterally, so we're just going to bend side to side. So I'm going to go over to my right, keeping the elbows back, and just hold here. You should be feeling this in the QL, so just in the outside of the lower back. And then let's go over to the other side. Keep the elbows pinned back. And just holding here. Good. Okay, we're going to integrate the two motions. So we've got the lateral bending and we've got the flexion and extension. We're going to do a full rotation. So the way to think about this is imagine you're drawing a circle with one elbow and the other side is just following suit. So with my hands behind my head, I'm going to imagine that I'm drawing a circle with my left elbow and the other side is just going to follow. So I'm opening up in that extension and then I'm coming over to the left, closing the elbows back in. I'll continue going the same way. So I'm drawing a circle with my left elbow and then I'm opening up the spine as I come back to center and then starting to round back in as I come over to the left. And I'm just going to continue going through these thoracic rotations. These feel lovely. Closing in. Opening up the chest. Bending over to the left. Bringing the elbows together, rounding the spine. Let's go the other way now. So I'm going to imagine I'm drawing a circle with my right elbow and the other side is just going to follow suit. So coming over to the left, bending over to the left and then opening up the chest, lifting up the chin, bending now over to the right, tucking the chin, flexing the spine, so rounding the spine, continuing in the same direction. Ah, these feel so good. Coming over to the right, and then closing in. Elbows come together, and just continuing this motion. Really trying to integrate the chin. We want to get the benefit in the very upper spine, in the cervical spine or the neck. So as we close in, really tuck the chin. And then as we open, you can lift up. Good. Okay, let's come back to our puppy pose. So just in a kneeling position, keeping the hips above the knees, and just walking the hands forward, and then dropping the chest down to the floor. So after those, I feel like I've got a little bit more range here. Remember, don't worry if your forehead is touching the floor. There's kind of 3 levels to this: forehead to the floor, chin to floor, and then chest to floor being the advanced level, which I struggle with. And we're tilting in the tailbone, so pushing the bum up towards the ceiling. We're just going to hold here. Take some deep breaths in here. Gaze is between the hands, unless your forehead is on the floor. Good, 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Walk the hands up. Nice. We're going into some ankle stability work. So we're just going to start in a standing position, and what I want you to think about here is with the feet shoulder width, it's just trying to drive the knees over the toes without lifting the heel. And this is called ankle dorsiflexion, your ability to drive your knees over your toes. So with the feet facing forwards, very simply, just try to drive the knees over the toes. So what you might want to think about here is as your knees come forward, actively trying to keep the heel pressed down into the floor. Now, what I'm hoping you'll feel is that the front of the lower part of the leg is activated here. This is the muscle called the anterior tibialis. And being strong here is going to provide a lot of strength and stability to the knees. We want to keep the glutes engaged, and we want to try to tuck the hips in and up. So we're really trying to drive the knees forward. So this is a nice, easy position, hopefully, for you. And we're really just trying to find that connection into that anterior tibialis. Now, to try and deepen this activation, what we can do is just try to lift the toes up. So keeping the knees forward, we're just going to try to lift the toes up off the floor. And this should deepen that activation into the anterior tibialis, or the front of the lower leg. So still trying to keep the knees forward, lifting up with the toes. Now, some of you might not have that awareness through your toes to lift them up, and that's totally fine. Just trying to do that, just trying to create that activation, even if your toes don't lift up, should give you that feeling and that sensation. So keeping the knees forward, lifting up with the toes. And then if we come back to the position with our toes on the floor, we should feel like we can create more range through that ankle dorsiflexion. So if I now just bring the toes back onto the floor, I should feel like I can just inch a little bit further forwards with the knees. So that contraction through lifting the toes up has now opened up capacity for more range through the ankle joint. So just driving the knees forward. And we're going to do one more contraction here. Try to keep the glutes engaged, lifting the toes up. Don't worry if your toes don't actually lift up. It's the feeling of trying to lift the toes up that's going to create the engagement, keeping the glutes on, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up. And then toes back down onto the floor, and try and just drive the knees even further forward. Wow, I've really got proper activation there through the front of the lower leg. It's really great. And you can probably see in yourself, or from what I'm doing, that my range after doing those activations has improved. Okay, nice, good. So we're now going to apply that new range into an exercise that I call ankle clocks. So I want you to imagine that your base leg, so the leg that's staying on the floor, is like the middle of a clock dial. And then with the other leg, we're trying to hit 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. But we're trying to apply the feeling of that dorsiflexion to this drill. So with my right foot on the floor, I'm going to try to touch to 12 o'clock by bending the knee and dorsiflexing. So I'm going to touch to 12 o'clock. And now I'm going to go to 9 o'clock. So I'm going to bend the knee, drive the knees over the toes, or the knee over the toes. I'm going to try to touch to 9 o'clock. And then, kind of like an RDL, we're going to hinge forward, bend at the knee, and try to just reach back to 6 o'clock. And then the hardest one of all, and don't worry if you can't get this to start, we're going to try and get to 9 o'clock and come back in. Okay? As you do this, you're trying to maximize that dorsiflexion. So try and reach as far forward as you can go. Let's go to 12 o'clock again. So driving the knees over the toes, reaching forward, trying to hit to 12. Good. And then we can go out to 9. We still want to get that feeling of driving the knees over the toes. Let's get to 9 o'clock. And then we need to shift the weight forwards a touch to try and touch to 6 o'clock. And then we're going to go to 3 o'clock. Good. Okay, let's go to the other side. So we've now got the left foot as the stabilizing leg, the leg where we're going to get that dorsiflexion through the ankle. And again, let's go to 12 o'clock, bending the knee, reaching forwards. And don't worry, guys, if you're only coming to here, that's totally fine. This is something you can improve on over time. And now we're going to 3 o'clock next, so bending the knee, trying to touch to 3 o'clock. And then we're going to 6 o'clock, shifting the weight forward, bending at the knee, touching to 6. And now the hardest one of all, going to 9 o'clock. Don't worry if you don't get that one, or if you just come to here, totally fine. Let's do another round, just like we did on the right leg. So bending, reaching forwards, 12. And then again, going to 3. And then again, going to 6. And then going to 9. Good. Okay, let's come back to that dorsiflexion drill where we're trying to find that activation through the front of the lower leg. And just to start with now that we've got a little bit more range, keeping the heels on the floor, we're just going to pulse up and down in this position, trying to feel that activation through the anterior tibialis. So just getting some soft bend in the knees here. Let's do 3 more. 3, keeping the glutes on. 2, and then last one. Good. Okay, let's come into that position and we're just going to hold now. Remember to keep the heels down on the floor. Okay, we're trying to improve the range in our ankles. We don't want to try and lift off with the heels. And then let's go for the primary activation. So our first activation, lifting up the toes, feeling that connection. Strengthening this area is so crucial for providing stability to the knees, creating support around the knees. We always want to look above and below the joint. And then let's bring the toes down onto the floor and let's try and shift a little bit further forwards. So we're getting a little bit more range now. And then let's go again, lifting up with the toes. I mean, the ideal situation is that that front of the lower leg is really burning here. You're really feeling it. Toes come down onto the floor, try and push further forwards. Remember, it doesn't matter if you can't lift the toes up. Just try and imagine that you are, or feel like you are. It's that feeling, that connection that's going to help you get that activation. And let's do one more, lifting up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and try and just drive forwards again. Good. Now let's come back to the ankle clocks. So we've got 1 foot center of the dial and we're trying to hit 12, 3, 6, and 9. What I want you to do now though is as we touch the foot and we come back in, I just want you to try and get that contralateral motion. So as you touch forwards and you come back, you're just bringing the right hand up with the left knee. Okay, so yeah, in this case, it's left hand, right knee. So I'm going to reach forwards and I'm going to touch to 12 o'clock. I'm going to come back in, lift the knee up and get that right hand up at the same time. And now I'm going to 9 o'clock. I come back in, I bring the knee up with my right hand. I'm then going to 6 o'clock. So I've now got that contralateral motion coming again. Lift up with the knee, bring the right hand up. Hardest one, 3 o'clock. Lifting up, contralateral motion. Nice, let's do one more. Again, reaching forwards. Bring the knee up, right hand up. Left foot out to the side. Bring the knee up with the right hand. Left foot back. Bring the knee up with the right hand. Contralateral motion, crucial for running. 3 o'clock. And lift. Good. These should feel really nice. Let's go on the other side. So left foot is the supporting leg, creating the stability. Let's step forwards with the right foot, now lifting up with the left hand. Let's go to 3 o'clock. Lifting up with the right hand. Let's go to 6 o'clock. Sorry, lifting up with the left hand, not the right hand. Left hand up. And then we got 9 o'clock. Up with the left hand. Let's do one more. 12. Come up. 3. Come up. 6. Up. And 9. Up. Good. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It can be quite a fun drill to do. And that concludes the core and stability section. Okay, good job today. Hopefully you're feeling more mobile, more connected in your body, and I hope to see you soon.